Alright, quick scenario. If you've got a broken power jack or a charging port, and whenever someone plugs it in, they say, oh, it's not charging. And they are likely right. There's probably too much damage on the power jack itself, which is pretty common. You can replace that fairly simply with one of these for the HP Chromebook G5ee. But either way, you can look up the part number based off your model number, like your model number and power jack, and you can find one of these online, and it's very easy to replace it. All it requires is you to open up the keyboard, which there was like 10 screws under the keyboard, but just do whatever makes sense, and you'll be able to take off the keyboard slowly. And after that, you'll have to take off some motherboard parts, basically whatever is holding it down. You'll have to unplug the power jack cable so you can kind of get under it. You can leave this fan in, it's not going to hurt anything. You're going to have to disconnect the display one, that way it doesn't get damaged, so just quickly take that one out too. And finally, you're going to have some screws in the hinge here that you're going to need to take off, and just be careful because it might make the screen fall back a little bit. So I'll take those off now, and it should come loose. Okay, and that's going to reveal the final one, which is the power jack screw, which holds it in place. Some of the older models don't even have one, so you can just pry it out with your pry tool. So that will loosen up the power jack, and now you can actually remove the motherboard itself by kind of pulling up this plastic here. It'll come loose. One thing to note is that you probably want the battery disconnected for some of this. You can just quickly use your finger and pry it apart. Because when the power's off, it's usually a lot safer and you're not going to damage any motherboard components with static electricity from the carpet or whatever it may be. So you can do that. I know for a fact that this battery is out of charge, so I'm not too worried. So you can pull it out. If you look here, there's a little bit of a tab, so you can kind of pull it to the right, and that will also loosen these parts too. So here we go. I'm gonna pull it loose just enough to where you can pull the power jack out right here. So I can actually reach it now. I'm gonna pull from this angle here, or the top. It really doesn't matter. You should be able to pull it out after the motherboard is loose. And it's got a bit of glue, so you'll notice a little bit of wiggle room. So I'm just pulling it out here, and I'm going to tug the slack out. Great, that is one broken one. You can just go ahead and toss that in the trash. So I'll do that there, and take the new one. And we're going to reverse the process here by making it follow the glue trap as best as we can. Doesn't have to be perfect. Just line it up with the power jack area right there. And with the new one, it's a bit of a dance with trying to get the cable and the motherboard just right. You want the PCB to be under the wire here, just so it has the right amount of slack. And you want to screw that down after the motherboard is kind of back in place. And try to make it as much of a parallel to the case as you can, because you want it to be straight whenever they plug it in. And after I put the motherboard back in place, I'll be able to plug the power jack back in there, and screw in everything to the motherboard and the power jack itself. And that is one repaired power jack. That's it for this one.